Hello, welcome to My Life in Pixels. It's Frankie Ward and I'm back. And I'm so sorry that I haven't been back sooner. My last episode was over a month ago, but it's been a bit crazy. I had a few weeks off in June and then I went to Glastonbury and I had a weekend away in Portugal. And so I wasn't really around as much. And then I had to prep for Intel Extreme Masters Chicago, Blast LA and PUBG Mobile in Berlin, which I've just returned from. So it kind of was meant to be not busy and then it got crazy. So now I have a few weeks off in August and I'm trying to stream more and I'm trying to do a few video edits and maybe record a few more of these podcast episodes. I'm basically really bad at asking people to do the podcast. I get really shy. I take my recording device with me to most events and then often there's no time. So I think one of the things I'm going to have to do more of is actually recording via Discord. I did take my recording device to LA, however, and I had a day off between Blast LA and IEM Chicago. And so I jetted around. I say jetted. I Ubered. I Ubered like normal Uber, not even Uber like XL, okay? Or Uber Black. I just Ubered around LA. I went to Hollywood to meet an old friend for lunch. And then I went to Santa Monica to meet my friend Paola Alejandra, a.k.a. Pancake Pow. And we recorded our catch-up. It's a very casual chat. We talk a lot about food. I talk about changing my knickers in the airport once, and I promise it's only happened once. Maybe it's happened twice. This story will be put into context in the podcast. And Paola also talks about scratching her cornea when we were working together in Gamescom, which was very, very painful. Paola's going to tell you her social links at the end of the podcast because she's going to be doing a lot more streaming soon as well. And maybe we should do a stream together, to be honest. I need to message you about that. But she also talks about her career as a host and how she got into things. And it was via our mutual friend, Rachel Seltzer Quirico, who I was just working with in Berlin on PUBG Mobile. Small world is esports, and I love it. We're all so supportive of each other, and long may it continue. So let's jump into the first episode of My Life in Pixels in bloomin' ages. It's been too long. Episode 21 with my friend Paola Alejandra. There is a bit of traffic noise because we are outside at the True Food Kitchen, which was my guest recommendation, Paola Alejandra.
Yes, I mean, it's that one location you should go to if you're in Santa Monica.
It's very, very nice. They do a lot of vegan options. You're just eating a tofu noodle bowl over there.
It's just a Korean, delicious, anything Korean is usually, I'm like sold. So it's like a Korean tofu, glass noodle deliciousness with mushrooms and it's just good stuff. Good food, clean food, yes. And there is traffic because we're in like one of the most busiest areas. 3rd Street Promenade is like a very big tourist location, and like right behind us is the famous Santa Monica Pier. That big pier that you've seen in all the movies, you see it right here. And there's also tons of gaming studios in this area as well.
Yeah, it's a really cool area. Like, I've only been to Santa Monica once, and it was when I was recording a PUBG documentary, which never came out sadly for Twitch. And our cinematographer too is a massive foodie, and so he just look up the go-to places, and so we ended up going to Santa Monica simply because he wanted to try out a brunch place, and that was great. I feel like we spent the time that we had very wisely. I'm trying to think the best food I've ever had, like in terms of going around the world, and it's really annoying that I cannot think of anything right now. Although Max Burger in Sweden's pretty good.
Ooh, I've never been to Sweden.
You've never been to Sweden?
No,
oh my goodness. You have to go to Stockholm and do some esports there.
I know, I want to.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the one city I've yet to, and I've never been to Australia.
Okay, so yes, so
I want to go.
Australia's crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah, well,
I just love the vibe there.
It's crazy.
I just love the vibe. I feel like it reminds me a lot of South America, South America, Mexico is very like hype when it comes to esports and gaming. They're just fanatics, and I feel like Australia is up there.
Yeah, with Intel Extreme Masters Sydney, aka IEM Sydney, that was mad because throughout the week they were calling Henry, our British caster, a wanker. So they literally go, Henry's a wanker. And they did that all week because it came up to the show match. It's called the Cashes.
How did he feel about that?
Oh, well, he's used to it because it was the 3rd year of the Cashes, which is a show match. They have Team England versus Australia. The Australian team actually tends to have Australian people on it, whereas England, it's just Henry and then like an assortment of non-Australian people. And basically the audience loved the clashes so much because Henry and Sponge, who's the Australian analyst, they've worked so hard on it. It's become this massive thing. But I just went out on stage sometimes between matches during the ad breaks just to talk to the audience and like have a laugh. And I was just like, what?
Did you understand them most of the time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I sort of said like, what's that? You call my friend Henry? And they start chanting Henry's a wanker. And I just went, guys, we're in a big arena watching other people play video games. We're all wankers. And like the whole audience was like, yeah. In my show reel now, there's a piece where I went out to host a show match.
I would put that in my reel.
Yeah. I wish that I probably wouldn't get away with saying wankers on the air. But
so funny.
But on this show match, like I sort of went up on stage and basically just said to Sydney about the fact I was English. And then I was about to say I'm thinking of defecting, and everyone started booing, and I was like, Sydney, is that how you talk to a woman? And they were like, yeah. So that's in my show reel because it made me laugh so much.
That's so funny.
But you mentioned the atmosphere in Mexico, so you've done some work in Mexico, like
yes,
years.
Mexico
We were chatting
City.
about that earlier before we started recording. What's it like out there?
Oh, Mexico City, I feel like is becoming one of these new cities where they're embracing gaming and esports in a very technical space. Like they are investing a lot of money in shows and esports events. So Gears, the coalition, goes down to Mexico City. I didn't go there first year, but I went there second year, and I was the first time they've had a bilingual host come. And so I opened the show in English and then in Spanish. They didn't know that I was going to do that. And so when they heard me say, like, you know, welcome the show in Spanish to them, they, like, lost their minds because it was, like, finally someone they can connect to. And so throughout the whole show, I was doing a lot of interpretation with the interviews, which is extremely hard to do, especially because you're, you know, trying to focus on what they're saying, also, like, paraphrase what they're saying because you don't have a lot of time to, you know, if they go on and on. So just probably finding the key moments of that sentence and then just going with it and then just moving on.
Yeah.
And it's a open bracket, so it's like a really, really long day. A lot of matches that are coming, but Gears is great. The vibe, Gears is one of those esports too where it's very grimy, it's very grassrooted. You know, there is a lot of shit talking. That's kind of what they're known for. And it's completely acceptable in the scene, in the community. So when I go up there, I can cause the drama. Like, I can really just set the tone for that. And it's okay to do. It's actually encouraged by the producers and everything. So it's something actually really entertaining to watch. Not only do you get your gore from the game, but you also get, like, you know, the gore from the personalities from these teams. And there's constant roster changes. So it makes really, really good storylines for me as an interviewer to ask them, you know, about, you know, what's it like being in a new team that, you know, you used to play against. And, you know, you just can go on and on. But it's been incredible. This last Gears, Mexico City was really special because it's just, I don't know, there's always just some, like, awesome thing that happens, and I got to work with Golden Boy, who I love, and his wife Cynthia came out, and his mother-in-law came out. So it's like we were all like in Mexico City just exploring when it was off time, and ate a bunch of amazing food. And yeah, I don't know, I was just in such a great state of like, wow, this is my life. I get to travel, talk about video games, host them. I wouldn't know what to do with my life. You know, it's like when you get those epiphanies, you're like, well, what would I do with my life? Like, I'm already here. I've invested so much time and effort into this skill set. And I just love Gears for the community. They've been very accepting to me. Yeah, I'm very blessed.
What does Gears Esports look like though? Because I associate Gears with obviously that that action adventure, and then you can play with your mates through the storyline. That's kind of how I think of
so
Gears.
you're thinking of like the actual story.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what the esports
so the
looks
versus,
like in
like
format.
they have like King of the Hill, they have versus.
So it's like Call of Duty.
Yeah, they definitely have different modes where they actually they're changing the meta a little bit for the new Gears. They're changing things around, which is good because I think the skill set of all the players there's definitely gonna be a skill gap more than ever now, and that's just something different. And a lot of the players, they're not too happy about it, of course, and some of them that are like, hey, you have to adapt. With any game, when there's different changes, you have to adapt. So I think this is a good thing. I think it's good for the esports community to see these players adapt.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a new game.
But how did you get into esports in the first place? Because we met when you were hosting on that stage that I was producing with our friend Britt.
You and Britt hired me to do Gamescom Germany.
I think that was my second year doing Gamescom that you came along.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I hosted. Yeah, I had already been hosting for Twitch for quite a bit, and then when they were like, no one wanted to do Gamescom for some reason, and I was like, I want to do it. What do you mean? Like, I love Germany. But throughout the show, I don't know if you remember, I ripped my cornea.
Yeah, you were in so much pain. You kept
going. So much pain. Everyone was like, "It's okay, you can go." I was like, "No, this is my first Gamescom. I'm toughen through this event." And it was like honestly an amazing event because you guys. I think I interviewed Steve Aoki.
Yeah, you had Steve Aoki, you and Jose.
Yeah.
And the cake. Did I ever tell you that Steve Aoki, I sat down to say hello to him and just thank him for being on the stage with us, and the cake was there because he always has to cake someone during his sets, and we'd arranged for the cleanup, but Warner Brothers had delivered the cake. And I said hello to him and he was like, "This is the wrong kind of cake." And I was like, "Oh, Steve, I'm so sorry." And he was like, "It's not going to crumble properly when I cake the guy later."
Some people are very particular about their cakes.
They are. Steve Aoki is one of them.
And Steve Aoki is one of them. We also had the other DJ there, Steve Aoki, and
I can't remember his name, but
it's literally at the tip of my tongue. He's probably going to come to me and
you can say it later. Just shout it out later.
It's literally going to be in a vivid dream. But they were both very nice.
They were very nice.
We had a lot of fun, and Germany was a lot of fun, and working with you was amazing. And we went to a few parties that we did. We went to, what game was coming out? There was a few.
So there was a Fortnite party at the same night as the Twitch party. We went to some party on the last night, I think, so we had dinner first. I can't think what party that was.
It was every time I go to games...
no, it was the Twitch party. Sorry.
It was the Twitch party, wasn't it?
But where we had dinner was where the Twitch party was the following year. When I wasn't working for Twitch anymore, I was a host. Yeah, we had that view. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a really amazing dinner. That was probably one of the best views in Germany by far that I've ever seen.
Yeah, view of the river in Cologne. I'm not sure what that river's called, but yeah,
and
it was so lovely.
And everything.
Oh, it was so nice. And the food was great. I had some gnocchi, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember eating really well that night and being like, dang, this is a really good night.
And then I went out till 6 a.m. and then I flew to Nice the next day. And I was still drunk in the taxi, and I was thinking I was late because I woke up late. And I was like, oh my God, I'm still drunk. Changed my knickers, brushed my teeth at the airport. Then Cologne's a really terrible airport, and the flight was delayed. And I was just there drinking a Coke and hating myself so much. I was tweeting from the car, I think I'm gonna miss my flight, and photos and things like that. And it literally was a go home, Frankie, you're drunk situation.
It was perfect for me. I had Nina as my tour guide because I was like, I need to go to Holland. I ended up getting an Airbnb in Holland for a few days. I was like, I don't know where to go, and so Nina's like, I'll show you. Get in the train. We rode in the train, and she's talking it up. How relaxing it's going to be on this train ride,
Shannonina, our friend,
and she's she's hilarious, and she's like, Pal, we're going to have it's so relaxing. You sit on the train, and it's you can get some wine, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, I'm totally, and we're obviously hungover from the night before, so you were, and we get there and we sit down, and all of a sudden we hear this train of noise. Her eyes are closed, and I just see her open them up, and she's like, what the Like, she was so like, what is happening? There's literally a bachelor party of dudes, like German loud dudes that sit literally right behind us. They took up like 5 seats around us.
Yeah.
And Shananina is like, no, like, she's like, not like this, because the ride is like at least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And they're like going off. They have like little tiny bottles of alcohol. They're handing them to everyone. They're just going off. I'm just like laughing because it's like, there's nothing I can do. I'm just gonna, this is how I'm going to Holland. This is how it's happening.
Yeah. You get a European experience.
I feel like it was. It was kind of like, welcome to Europe. This is your round 2. And I just wanted to get to Holland because I wanted to go to the hospital to fix my eye. Because I was literally in so much pain from my cornea being ripped. So I had done all my interviews. I had done everything. I didn't go to the hospital in Germany, and I went to the hospital in Holland. And I was, because someone told me some weird stories about the hospitals in Germany. So it freaked me out. And I just was like, I'm not going to go. So I went, geez, flies trying to eat my food.
Eat your food. Don't eat your food before the flies do.
So I was just like, I'm going to go in Holland. Went to Holland, finally got there after that crazy train ride. And then we went, I went to my Airbnb and I was like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful Airbnb I've ever stayed in. And the lady who was there was like, all right, well, if you need anything. I was like, actually, I need to go to the hospital. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, my corneas, I think I messed up my eye. It won't stop leaking. I had to work like this for a few days now. I don't think I can take the pain anymore. And she's like, here's a hospital. I just have to call and they make an appointment. And I was like, what? And it's like 3 p.m. She got me an appointment in 15 minutes. I was in a Uber in 5 and then got to the hospital and got seen in like less than 5 minutes because I had the appointment. Went there. I was ready to like, spend a couple $1,000s. So I was like, well, this happens, travel. That's why you have a credit card, blah, blah, blah. And I get there and I saw a professional eye doctor. I got like a steroid in my eye, which is like pretty expensive. When I got back, I kind of like researched it. Basically numbs your eye, so the repair can start happening like instantly. And then she like ink blotted my eye so we can test it, so she could see if there was a lot of damage. And she's like, no, it's like you're actually really lucky. You'll heal. You just put this ointment on twice a day. I'm ready to like pay. She's like, thanks me. I thank her. About to pay, and she's like, oh yeah, you got to pay out there. I go and I give him the ticket, and it was $85 American. And I was like, no way, dude, no way. And I just like freaked out. So I just like paid it, got in a Uber, went back to my area. I could have walked there because it was really short, but
That sounds really good walking city.
Everything is like walking. But it was my first night there, and then I got there and realized, okay, now I can go full vacay mode. I don't have a goopy eye. I can actually enjoy Europe, and thank goodness for amazing medical care in Europe, because I would have been in really bad shape.
Yeah,
I was ready to pay, but so thank you to the Dutch people for taking care of me, because that was awesome.
Yes. I mean, in the UK, we our health service, unfortunately, it's underfunded, so it's so hard to get an appointment very fast like that.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your healthcare system like? Because I know ours is terrible.
It's free at point of use.
Oh, wow.
Because it's paid for from taxes. But our government has been like, so for example, Jeremy Hunt, who's currently in contention for Prime Minister because our Prime Minister quit. That was a very long time coming, too long coming. Unfortunately, it's going to be Boris Johnson who wins. But this guy, Jeremy Hunt, he's basically friends with loads of private healthcare providers, because you can't pay for private, you can have insurance. So basically, he's been selling off the NHS to people that fund his campaigns.
Oh, jeez Louise.
Yeah.
You guys have corruption in your country?
Oh, God. Well, we've got dodgy things going on. I mean, like, basically, the two people who are in contention for Prime Minister, I believe, were at uni together. Like, it's very...
That's weird.
Yeah, it's very incestuous.
It's very culty.
Very, and it's really hard, because it's like... I suppose there's a similar thing here, really. Like, there is an elite that rule everything, which is why when you've got AOC... like doing her thing and representing, like that's probably why it's such a shock to to the sort of established system because they're not used to someone who actually understands what it's like to need tips to live type of thing. So obviously, yeah, we met at Gamescom, but when did you actually first start hosting? When did you make this your thing?
Okay, so I had been kind of freelancing as a writer, and I ended up going to GDC, and this is like about almost, let's say like 5-6 years ago. And so I was like convinced that I was going to work at IGN and like be a writer and editor. And I was like, if it's not that, it's GameSpot. I want to be there. That's when I know I'll make it. And I had no idea that, I mean, I knew of esports and I knew of events, but I was like, no one's ever going to hire a brown 5'2" Latina, a spicy Latina, you know, that's got a mouth and a lot of personality. And I just never considered myself as someone that was of that caliber. So I went to GDC and I was covering this particular panel that was just like on the height of Gamergate, and it had a bunch of the people that were kind of surrounded. And I was kind of curious to be like, what's going on with these girls? You know, are they legit? Like, I kind of wanted my own perspective of like what was happening. And it was an opportunity to see them all in one panel all at once. And next to me was Seltzer, Rachel.
Yes.
So she was sitting next to me the whole time. And then after the panel, we both were like in tears because then one of her friends told this like really crazy story about like just being a female competitor in their space, and just like it's like a lot of crazy shit that's still happening today. And she was just, you know, told her story, and we just are, you know, and I'm never emotional. Like, I just don't cry. It's weird. I cry like when things are like really weird, like happy. Yeah, I think I'm a rabbit or something because I just hold everything inside. But yeah, so Rachel, we're bonding about this, and I was like, I know who you are. You're Seltzer. You're a frag doll. I've seen you on camera. You're great. She's like, yeah, you know, you should like meet my team, my management team. And I was like, what? Like, you have a team? Like, I didn't even know. I was just like so oblivious. And she's like, yeah, why don't you have a meeting? And we I had a meeting with Andrew from CSA, and we told him what I'd love to do, and he's like, well, I think you have some potential to do some stuff. You know, let's do a test drive. And he signed me, and I got signed, and then I went, I did, my first ever event was for a game called Evolve with 2K. And that event, you know, I don't know if you remember that game Evolve, where there was a monster, and then there was like, you would go in and you'd either be the monster or you'd have to hunt the monster. And so they had this like competitive like 4v1 thing. And it was my first time working with ESL. I was like, I was so green. I knew how to hold a mic. That's the only thing. I was like, okay, talking to the mic. Where's the camera? But I was very confident about talking about games. So once I got that out of the system, they did my hair and my makeup, and then I was like, wow, this is really happening. There was no turning back. It was a very sink or swim situation. And I was like, the first segment, I was like, oh, well, this is fun. Like, oh, I want to do that again. And I just like it fueled me. Got through it. Apparently I did well enough to do their finals, and then I remember getting a call to do Gamescom, to do skill, and then the Halo 5 Invitational right after. So it was like after that I had been still working nonstop. So it's like a blessing. So I've done like a lot of different things between esports, gaming, hosting, like game reveals. I've kind of worked with probably some of the biggest companies in the world, and it's just been great because it validates your work that you are doing and the work that you're going to do in the future. But I don't know, I'm just kind of like this, I'm very much a hybrid, so I feel like I can be a caster if I want to, I have those skill sets. I haven't done any major casting yet for any like big titles, but I would love to have the opportunity. I've done plenty of hosting and a lot of interviewing, like reporting. like sideline reporting, which is
that's
I love.
stuff I'm
which
doing a lot of,
yeah, and I love doing it because it's just like you get to really be in the trenches with the players and the teams and the coaches, and you really get to kind of learn kind of the environment and the chemistry between these teams, and really have good I don't know, a good foundation of like what the game really is, and really, I guess in a way, kind of paint the story for the casters and what they're going to talk about and what they're going to, you know, want to script out for the rest of the show. So that's kind of been my journey for these last few years, and I'm still trying to find what it is I'm looking for. It's been very interesting ride. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'd love to do this, like the behind the scenes kind of thing, but then I'm like, no, I love being on camera too much. It's too crazy. Like, once you get bit by that bug, it's like, oh, no, I want to do that.
It is hard to, like, think about not doing it now. Like, we're doing it, isn't it? Like, although I feel like I used to be a really capable person, and I was so organised because I had to organise other people. And now, sometimes I fail at organising myself. Like, I'll never miss a flight, ever. But
never say never.
No, that's a good point. I should never say that.
But never say never.
I've always, there were a couple of times last year when I was a couple of minutes late for the shuttle, but I still got on the shuttle and everything was fine. But,
but it was close.
But it was kind of close. I enjoyed myself too much at the after parties. But like, always never even drinking that much, just like staying out really late.
And just like talking and losing track of time.
Literally that, basically, just like hanging out with really cool people who I only get to see when we're working. So I think that's why it sometimes goes that way, or it happens that way. But like this year, I've been much more punctual. So I've been very, very good. Like last night, I think I went to bed at like 4 or 5 a.m.
Dang, I'm so impressed that you're
tired.
actually here.
And I couldn't sleep, and I don't even know why I couldn't sleep. But
it's because you were excited to see me.
Exactly. That is exactly why. I had to have lunch with, I had to. I was having lunch with a friend who I used to work with at BBC Radio Comedy, who's now doing podcasts, so he's been out in LA for 5 years. So that was really nice. Is there a particular game? You're saying you're not really sure about like future what you really want to do, but like, is there a particular game that you would love to cover?
I mean, I'm really into BRs, so I've worked with PUBG before, I've worked now with Fortnite, I have yet to work with Apex, and I've been wanting to see Call of Duty have their own Blackout series for quite some time. I think it would do really well if they did like a duos, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be like competitive, it could just be almost competitive entertainment, and bringing like, awesome streamers and
so they do it in Fortnite, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like their pro-ams and stuff like that. I think that would be really successful for Call of Duty. I don't know if they're going to have a BR for their next game, but I just really understand the BRs really well, and I find the stories and the unpredictability of them extremely entertaining. So I love them. I love them all. So it's just finding, I guess, which one, I'm gonna, settle in. And I feel like I'm really good at adapting, and I'm really good at being kind of the hybrid in my group, where I can just kind of mold wherever I need to be. But, it's also nice to belong to a community and be like, oh, that's, like, that's our girl. Like,
yes, it would be really cool for you to be doing Apex, I think. Or even like PEL, PEL's the European one, MPL, the PUBG.
MPL, yeah.
Because I know Seltzer's doing it at the moment.
Seltzer's doing that at the moment. But I mean, it's just, I guess, like, I don't really have like anything set in stone. I'm totally open to do other titles and stuff like that. And who knows? Maybe we'll get a new title that we don't know about that we'll get to learn about in the next year. So I'm keeping my options open. I'm getting back to streaming again regularly, which is really important to me because I took basically a year and a half off of streaming to work on my hosting. And it's just, I would get home and I was so tired that I just didn't, I wanted a game just for myself.
Yes, yeah, you have to.
And I was just like, I don't feel like being on camera right now. And I felt really selfish, but my community like really stuck with me. There's a big group of us. They're on Discord. My posse, they've seen me grow in this industry, and like when I was ready to kind of get back into streaming, they were there. So we have a lot of things that we're transitioning to, and we got like a brand new PC and like got like all this new equipment. So the streaming like space is like really nice and professional now. I feel like one of those cool kids. Mm-hmm. So shout out to all my partners out there because they really hooked it up.
And what kind of stuff are you going to be streaming?
So I love FPSs. I'm very aggressive. I usually lead most of my team. So
you're the in-game leader?
I'm definitely the in-game leader. But I'm also I love to help people win and stuff like that if they've never gotten a victory or, a chicken dinner. Like, it's always fun to, help someone get that first victory. It's very endearing, so I always love to do that. But yeah, sometimes I just do that, or my community really wants me to start playing horror games, but I just refuse because I just don't like them. I'm just too scared. That's why I like FPSs, because I'm in complete control. I don't have to worry, about anything. I'm in control of, my destiny for the most part. Yeah. But not horror games. I don't know what's going to come at me.
Until Dawn. That could be a good one.
I did. I played that one.
Okay. Fine.
But I didn't find that one, terrifying.
No, because but the thing is that you're making decisions, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the same as, I guess.
Suspenseful, I guess.
Yeah, it's not the same as, I don't know, Evil Within 2 or something like that, where you're actually kind of having to do the running yourself.
Oh, yeah, something's actually chasing you. Yeah, no. None of that. For me, it was more the Until Dawn was wow, I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. I'm going to play that whole thing again, and we played through it, I think, twice, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. But yeah, I think right now I'm in this transition where I'm really comfortable. I've just wrapped up an event at AX for Capcom. So it's I get these really amazing opportunities and great, I'm considered for a lot of amazing things, and I just feel so blessed. The work is steady. I can pay my bills. My parents still don't know how I'm managing to pay my bills being in the gaming industry, but I do, and I pay them, and it's a blessing.
And what can we see you doing next?
What will you see me? Well, we got some events coming up, so hopefully something at Gamescom, because I really want to go to Gamescom so badly. I want to be in Europe again. I miss Europe, and I would love to do something there, or anything to be, this is kind of we're in season now, so who knows what I'm going to get called for.
Cool. And so, what's your Twitch address?
My Twitch is PancakePowTV.
And then your Instagram, Twitter?
My Twitter is also Pancake Pow. And then my Instagram is Pancake underscore, or it's actually, it's Pancake_Pow.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Yes.
And fingers crossed for Gamescom.
I know. I just want to work with you. We need to do an event together. Whatever event we can do together, I'm down for.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Paola for speaking to me. It was so lovely to catch up with you. And yes, I really, really do hope we get to work together soon. I am going to be returning to work at Gamescom in August in Cologne. And I can't tell you what I'm going to be doing yet, but it's going to be my 4th Gamescom and my 2nd as a host. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll be telling you more information on my Twitter when I have it. So that's @GetFrank on Twitter. My Instagram has now grown larger than my Twitter following, which is really weird to me. But that's Instagram.com/GetFrankGames. I post a lot of pictures of my face, to be honest. It seems to be what does well. But I'm actually kind of having fun with it now. I used to be very... I don't know, I used to have mixed feelings about Instagram, but now I'm celebrate it. It's great. I'm having fun with it. So please do follow me on there if you're interested. And I'll be streaming on twitch.tv/Frankie. As usual, I don't know when the next episode is going to be, but I'm going to endeavour to try and get one out sooner rather than later. So please do subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already for that episode to fly into your device when it's ready. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you're having a fantastic summer, and I will see you very, very soon.